Good morning. It's Tuesday, August 3rd. Like most of you, because of the pandemic, I really haven't been out of the house a whole lot. I managed to get out periodically to go to the Y for some session because they've opened up, and we appear in person occasionally. Otherwise, my events during the week consist mainly of preparing my daily rant, which fortunately takes me about 3 hours every day. And then, of course, I Zoom. And another thing that happens every day is I get several robocalls. I don't get that many calls from people. My daughter calls occasionally. My sons are not telephone people, but I do speak to them. And I have some other people that I speak to on a pretty regular basis. But it's not a long time on the phone. But I get robocalls constantly. I get robocalls, and they want to talk to me about the Discover card. And I don't have a Discover card. And then I get the robocalls that want to tell me that the warranty on my car has run out. But the car that they're talking about, I don't even own anymore. Of course, there's a robocall that tries to convince me that I'm not getting all of my Medicare and Medicaid benefits. And then we get the ones from Allstate who want to insure my house and my automobile. And I have never asked for any of these people to call me. Then I do some research on the robocall industry. And I find out that every month there's 4 billion robocalls. 4 billion. And in fact, in June, they set a new record, 4.5 billion robocalls. Think about that. The population of the world is about 7 billion. And I will bet you of those 7 billion, there's probably a couple billion that don't even have a telephone. So these people must be calling only places where they have telephones, like the United States and Europe, probably the wealthier countries. They're not going to waste their time calling some backwater countries. They're going to waste their time calling us. And what do we have in the United States to protect ourselves from these robocalls? Well, many years ago, they created something called the Do Not Call list. And they made a big deal out of it. Put your name on the Do Not Call list, and you won't receive any more robocalls. Well, I know many people who have their name on their list, and I know many people who don't. And it doesn't make a difference whether you have your name on the list or you don't have your name on the list, because the robos are still calling you, because it's almost impossible to stop the robocall. The nation have been trying to stop the robocall since the 1990s. Interestingly enough, when they created this Do Not Call list, 10 million people signed up in the first few days. But it didn't do any good, really. And nobody's really interested in stopping the robocalls because it's a non-lethal annoyance. It's not going to harm anybody, except maybe somebody who can't get around the house well and has to keep getting up and going to the phone. Maybe that would be a danger. But it's not a health hazard, so to speak. It's an annoyance, but it's not a health hazard. And then Congress passed the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, which limited the use of automatic dialing systems and pre-recorded messages. And this is something that most of us hate. We don't really like getting unsolicited phone calls. That the Supreme Court heard a case that involved robocalling. And the Supreme Court said that the fact that they had this Telephone Consumer Protection Act, it really didn't count. You couldn't use it. I don't know why you couldn't use it. I guess it was pretty complicated. But the bottom line was that nobody needs your permission to put your phone number on an automatic dialer. So that means that we are victims without any choice. Anybody can put our phone number on an automatic dialer, and we have no way of stopping the robocall. Now, I know there's something called no robo, but it doesn't work with all telephone systems. I don't even know if it really works at all because I've never been able to use it. So think about this. Robocalls are nonpartisan. They don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. There are no red robocalls and there are no blue robocalls. There are only obnoxious robocalls. And the one important thing I want you to remember, if you get a robocall, never press 1. Because if you press that number 1, then you're going to get the telephone pitch. And once you get the telephone pitch, the only way to get rid of them is to hang up. And most of us are not built to be that impolite. So I give you that advice. Don't press 1. Consider this. There are about 120,000 Americans who work in the robocall industry. And they're getting paid around $15 an hour. And I don't know how many phone calls they're required to handle every minute of every day. But that's a pretty efficient operation. So I don't think the robocall industry is going to disappear. It's going to be a continuous annoyance in our lives. And I'll tell you why I know it's not going away. Because in 2020, there were almost 46 billion robocalls. 46 billion. And that's about 1,400 robocalls a second. So before you can turn around, 1,400 people are being roboed. It's amazing. It's amazing. The numbers are staggering. Imagine if we had certain other parts of this world that were as efficient as the robocall business. Maybe none of us would have to work 40 hours a week anymore, or at least those of us who work. I don't work anymore. Based upon what I told you about Congress, maybe something will happen with the robocall industry, but don't bet on it. Don't bet on it because the people who are in that business are smarter than the congressmen. And you know, most of these robocalls don't come from the United States probably. They come from India or Pakistan. And you can tell by the accent. When the guy says, my name is Juan, but he has an Indian accent. I never heard of anybody calling me up and saying, my name is Herb. I haven't heard that name. But Juan is a popular name. And Dave is a popular name too. But they all come with some foreign accent, usually Indian, from India, not from the southwest of this country. So in any event, that's my rant for today. It's a nonsense rant, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.